Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan and today I'm going to be sharing with you my priority TBR for 2023. So originally this list was very long. I had one of those 23 and 23, or I had two separate lists of sequels versus first book in the series slash standalones I wanted to read. I figured I would just narrow it down to 10. That way it is definitely doable because I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the year, how much time I'm going to have to read 23 books. These lists don't necessarily stress me out. If I do it, that's awesome. These are just ones I really want to read at the start of the year. These are the ones I want to get to the most throughout the year. But if I don't read them all, I will read them at some point. But I just wanted a little bit more of an achievable list. 23 books is a lot to talk about, and it almost ended up just being my entire TBR. So I've narrowed it down to 10. Yeah, I'm super excited to get to all of these books hopefully soon. I guess without further ado, we can just get started. Fair warning that I probably will not be the best at explaining the synopses of these books, just because I am a reader who loves to go into books knowing as little as possible. I just get a sense of the general story, and if it appeals to me, then I'm gonna read it. And most things appeal to me. I'm very easy to please when it comes to books. So either that or I just really know what I like. But yeah, the first book I have here is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas, and I actually started this one this morning. So ideally I would like to read the rest of the series, but we're just going to start with this one book. This is technically the fourth book in the Throne of Glass series, not including the novella. But if you don't know, the Throne of Glass series follows Selena Sardathian, who is one of Ireland's most notorious assassins. She is captured and sent to this prison where, after so long of being imprisoned, the prince and his guard come and take her back to the capital to have her compete in this competition to become the king's assassin. And while she's there, of course, all kinds of mysterious stuff starts happening. Demonic, questionable, who knows what's going on. I really enjoy Throne of Glass. I don't know that it's my favorite of the Sarah J Maas series, but I haven't finished this one yet, so who's to say, really? But yeah, I'm hoping to get to Queen of Shadows and maybe even Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ashes this year. That would be fantastic. That way I can continue on with House of Earth and Blood, because I want to finish this one out before I continue with that. But yes, that is my first goal of the year. These really are in no particular order. I'm just going to grab them off this stack, or I have two that are on my Kindle, slash I don't own physically yet. I guess we can just go ahead and get those out of the way. The next book I would really like to get to is Lost in the Moment and Found by Seanan McGuire. This is the newest release in the Wayward Children series. It's book 8. And I absolutely adore everything about this series. I'm sure you know what the Wayward Children series is about, but if you don't, just a quick synopsis is, in this world, these children end up going through these doors and find these worlds that are basically made for them. It's what they needed in that moment. Some of the books are set in those worlds. Some of them are set in our world at this place called Miss Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children, where they are coping with being back in the real world, waiting for their doors, or coping with the fact that they will never be able to go back through their doors. This book takes place in one of those worlds, I believe, and it follows a character that was introduced in Where the Drowned Girls Go, which is arguably my favorite of the series. So I'm super intrigued to get into this one. I don't want to say too much about the plot of this, just in case you're wary of spoilers, but the synopsis of this one specifically sounds so intriguing. This world has so much potential from what I've heard about it. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. I really just need to go out and buy it, but I want to wait a little bit because the prices are very high right now, and it's like a $20+ book for about 100 pages. So I'm gonna get it eventually and read it. I really want to get it right now, but we're gonna have some self-control. We don't need to be buying books right now anyway. The next book on my list is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book in the Mistborn trilogy, the final book in the Mistborn Era 1. I read the first two last year and really enjoyed them. I don't think they lived quite up to the hype I had in my head, but they were still very good, and I love everything about an expanded universe, so I want to read all of the Cosmere, all of the things Brandon Sanderson has written. Mistborn Saga, the first book, The Final Empire, follows our main character Kelsier. Is that right? Kelsier? I think that's right. Who is forming this band to pull off the biggest heist they have ever pulled off. He recruits Ven to join this group, The magic system is based on ingesting metals. Most people, if at all, can only ingest one metal, and that gives them one power, but then there are these people called Mistborns who can ingest all of the metals. That gives them all of the powers, which is probably a good weapon to have when you're pulling off a major heist. Yeah, I'm just really intrigued to see how this series, this part of the series, wraps up, so I can continue on to Mistborn Era 2 and the rest of the Cosmere. I'm very excited to get to the Stormlight Archives, but I gotta wrap this one up first. Another book I am very interested to get to this year is The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Originally on my list was A Shadow in the Ember, but I read that very early this year. It was actually my first read of this year, so that doesn't go on this list anymore because I'm making this video way too late. War of Two Queens is the 4th book in the Blood and Ash trilogy. Sorry, I get the names confused because there's that and the prequel trilogy, which have very similar names. But it's the 4th book. You read it after first book in the prequel trilogy. Very confusing. Side note that we don't need to get into right now. From Blood and Ash, the first book follows Poppy, who is the maiden, who is the chosen. And what comes with being the chosen is you cannot basically be seen, be talked to other people, be touched, touch other people. She barely lives at all. She's guarded by these guards that have become her friends, and something happens. One of her guards becomes Hawke, the mysterious Hawke, who I really am not quite sure how much to say about this. It's been a little bit since I read the first book, so I really don't want to dive into spoilers. There's so much more that goes on than that basic synopsis. From book 1 to book 3, so much has changed. Writing is not the best in these novels. I would say it could do with some editing, but the plot and the characters are just so riveting. I enjoyed A Shadow in the Ember so much more than From Blood and Ash, even though I really enjoyed the 3 books I've read so far in the series. So I'm eager to continue on and see how that From Blood and Ash builds upon the Flesh and Fire novels and just keep going with this. Yeah, I'm just intrigued to see where my favorite characters end up and how the 2 series might combine, how the series ends, even though I don't know that there's even an ending in sight. But yeah, this is one I'm really hoping to get to in 2023. The next book is a book that was on my 2022 priority TBR list, but I didn't get to it. So here's to 2023. And that is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. This is the start of the 2nd series in the Realm of the Elderlings. And I know this is many people's favorite trilogy in the Realm of the Elderlings, so I'm so excited to get to this one. I was just reading a lot of other high fantasy last year, and honestly the case is the same for this year, but I don't care. I really am dying to get into this book. Basically all I know about this is when 3 generations of these families die on board these ships, they come to life. That's pretty much all I know, but there's obviously a lot more that goes on than that. This is the follow-up to the Farseer trilogy, which follows the bastard son of the prince-in-waiting, Fitz, as he grows up in the keep and is trained to be the assassin for the king. I don't think this really has that much to do with that. Obviously, the events of this are going to be contingent upon the events at the end of the Farseer trilogy, but it's a whole new cast of characters, a whole new part of the world, I believe, and I'm super intrigued to get to this one. How many times am I going to say intrigued in this video? Who knows? The next book on my priority list is The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. This is the 2nd book in the Bridgerton series, which is set in, I don't know what the term for the times is, but it's back when women were courted, women were presented to society, and it follows each of the Bridgerton siblings. The second one follows Anthony. I have already seen the season of the Netflix show based on this. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the first season. I didn't so much enjoy the first book of this, but I want to see how it goes, as I have bought the entire series because they were on sale. So that's why this is on this list, because I want to make progress on the series, and I do want to see where the Bridgerton siblings stories go before the TV show, just because that's how I am. So I want to read this one and then get to Benedict and Colin's story before those premiere, though I don't know that that is completely doable. Yeah, I just know this follows Anthony and Kate. If any of you care anything about Bridgerton series, then you probably know what this is about. If you don't care, then you don't want to know. So that's about as much as, I mean, all you really need to know is it follows the romance story of each Bridgerton sibling as they are presented to society. Yeah, the next book I want to read this year is a little different. But it's something that has been in the news and the media a lot lately, and I want to see what she has to say, and that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. Yeah, I mean, I've heard things about Jeanette McCurdy in the media since she left iCarly. I just want to hear her story from her point of view. There's really not too much to say about this. I just know this is going to be heartbreaking. I don't typically read nonfiction, and I don't have anything against it. I just don't gravitate towards it most of the time. But this one is a celebrity that I am familiar with, and I just want to know her story. The next book is a very popular book. It was on everyone's best of books last year, I feel like, and that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. I read the Poppy War trilogy last year and I really enjoyed it. I've heard a little bit about this book. I just know that people absolutely adore it, and I know it has to do with Oxford and words and things like that. There's so much more to this story than that. I don't want to explain too much because I'm not exactly sure, but I don't have too much more to say about this, I guess, because I don't exactly know the plot, and I want to go into it with knowing as little as possible. I just know this is like a very important book. It speaks to a lot of important themes and reflects society in a way. This cover is gorgeous. I need to take the stickers off, but I'm scared to do that, so they'll probably live on here. The next book I want to get to is also a popular book that was popular several years back and is still popular, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This year my goal is to really get into Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlist. At this point I've read 2 things by her, The Evidence of the Affair and Seven Husbands, and I loved both of those. And as I've mentioned, I'm a sucker for an extended universe, so I really want to read all of the novels she's published in this universe. So Seven Husbands, Daisy Jones, Malibu Rising, and Carrie Soto. Yeah, pretty much the only thing I know about this is that it's about a band. I think it has like Fleetwood Mac vibes. It's told like an interview kind of format. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just super excited to read this, and then I also have Malibu Rising in paperback, so I'm going to get to both of those this year, hopefully. Yeah, I'm hoping to love this as much as I loved Daisy Jones. As much as I loved Evelyn Hugo. There we go. Alright, and the last book I have on my list to read in 2023 is another super popular book, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I did try to start this book last year. I just don't think it was the right time, so I didn't get more than a page or 2 in. It's such a beloved book, and I am intrigued to see where I fall, because I know some people absolutely love this and some people aren't quite sure about it. I think I'll really enjoy it. Again, basic gist I know about this is there's a girl, Addie, who everyone forgets who she is because she made a deal with the devil. That could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking this is about. I could be completely off. But yeah, I followed Victoria Schwab as she was writing this book, and how much she poured into this book, how much time she spent on this book. I just want to give it a go because it deserves more than that. But she's put her whole soul into this, I know, and I just want to see the fruits of her efforts. So yes, that is my list of 10 books I want to prioritize reading in 2023. Let me know what is on your list. Let me know which of these I should pick up first. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you with another one soon. Bye!